Okay, let's dive in. Imagine for a second. What if your bank balance wasn't just about budgets or the market, but really about your inner world?
Yeah, it's a big shift in perspective.
We're exploring a philosophy today that basically says, yes, material wealth and your spiritual state, they're absolutely linked.
Hmm.
This isn't simply about, getting more money. It's about tuning into what our sources are calling this infinite prosperity,
Yeah.
making success almost sacred.
It really is. We're looking at what feels like a blueprint, maybe an inner operating system. It defines wealth completely differently, not as a pile of cash, but as a frequency, a dynamic
Wait,
energy.
frequency. Okay.
So our mission here is to unpack this idea of conscious wealth, to understand the mental architecture you need to build to tap into that flow.
Right. And the first piece of that architecture seems to be changing how you even think about money itself. I mean,
Yeah.
usually it's just inert, right?
Yeah,
A tool, something to manage.
exactly. But these sources, they immediately elevate it. They talk about money as sacred energy, even a spiritual ally.
An ally. That changes things. That implies
Well,
a relationship, respect.
it totally shifts the dynamic. You move away from scarcity and control and towards, relationship, reciprocation.
Okay.
If money's your ally, you treat it well. So you welcome it with real gratitude when it shows up, and crucially, you spend it with purpose when it goes out.
So it's not about hoarding.
No, it's a loop of respect. The idea is you let money flow freely through you, but as a force for good.
Okay, but flow sounds a bit chaotic. If you're just letting it move freely, how does that square with, practical planning, long-term goals? Is it all just gut feeling?
Well, the plan they talk about is synchronization. They call it divine harmony.
Divine harmony.
Yeah, the argument is that financial growth isn't random. It has to happen in harmony with divine timing.
What does that mean practically, though? Divine timing.
Practically, it means your personal goals, your ambitions, they need to clearly support your deeper purpose, your soul's mission, as they put it. If what you're striving for is out of sync with that core contribution, the flow apparently stops. You have to be, and this is their phrase, spiritually aligned with the frequency of wealth.
Okay, frequency of wealth. For someone who thinks of frequency like radio waves, how do we translate that? Is it visualizing, doing specific things?
It seems mostly psychological
Mhm.
and behavioral. Think of frequency as your dominant vibe around money, your main mental and emotional state.
Right.
If you're operating from fear or guilt, you're sending out a frequency of not enough, lack, and that pushes abundance away.
So you change the frequency by changing the internal state.
Exactly. Wealth then becomes amplification,
Mm-hmm.
tool that amplifies spiritual impact. The outer world just reflects the inner one.
Which brings us right to that core challenge you mentioned, becoming the inner architect.
Yeah.
You have to clear out the internal clutter first. What does that actually look like?
This is where it gets really practical, moving from philosophy to, psychology.
Mm-hmm.
The flow gets blocked by things like shame, fear, or guilt around having money.
Guilt. Yeah, I can see that. Maybe feeling it's not spiritual to be wealthy.
Precisely. Historical beliefs, maybe family patterns.
Yeah.
That stuff creates resistance. You have to find those blocks and release them.
But how do you even spot that shame if it's, unconscious? Are there telltale signs?
The sources suggest looking at your reactions. Do you feel anxious getting a big check? Do you feel this sudden urge to spend it or give it away fast, almost to prove you're not greedy?
Ah, okay. That points to resistance.
Yeah, it suggests you don't fundamentally feel you deserve it, which is why the foundation they propose is so radical. Abundance is your natural state.
That really goes against the grain, doesn't it? The idea that wealth comes from struggle, from scarcity. How do they justify saying abundance is natural just because I am abundant because I exist?
The justification is spiritual. It frames wealth as a natural expression of divine love, a reflection of your inner light. It takes away the need to strive out of desperation. If you exist, you're inherently worthy. That lets you step into a new identity. You start seeing yourself as the architect of my financial freedom.
Wow, that's a huge mental shift. So once you've cleared that resistance, how do you make day-to-day choices? If it's not just about spreadsheets, intuition must play a big role. But isn't there a risk there? Relying only on heart wisdom? What about, say, diversification, standard financial sense?
That's the balancing act, right? The sources definitely push intuition as the main gateway to wealth. They say listen deeply to the wisdom of the heart for all money decisions.
All of them.
Well, the idea seems to be that intuition guides the strategy. It doesn't replace the mechanics. Intuition tells you where to put your energy, your gifts, making sure it aligns. Practical wisdom still figures out the how.
Okay, so intuition sets the why and what. Strategy handles the how. Got it. There's this powerful line they use. My bank account grows in harmony with my spiritual growth. If money follows spirit, what are the signs of spiritual growth we should look for before the bank account changes?
That's a great question. If the money's the lagging indicator, the leading ones are things like emotional clarity, feeling less financial stress, the quality of your service, how much impact you feel you're making.
Okay.
If you're constantly wrapped up in fear and scarcity, the alignment's off. But when you start to feel genuinely financially empowered and confident, seeing yourself as a clear vessel for divine abundance, that's the real proof of spiritual growth.
And the material follows that feeling.
Right. You need to cultivate that millionaire mindset before the millions actually show up.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. If this flow comes from love and service, and it's all about movement, where does the wealth actually go? It can't just pile up. That would stop the flow, right? Which leads to this idea, stewardship.
Exactly. You're not positioned as an owner, hoarding it. You're a steward of wealth for the highest good. That responsibility is baked right in.
So it's not your money to just consume privately.
It's more like a resource entrusted to you, specifically for making an impact out in the world.
Let's unpack that difference. Steward versus owner. An owner tries to maximize personal benefit. A steward, in this view, maximizes impact. What kinds of uses do the sources say fulfill that stewardship role?
The purpose of the success is directly tied to helping others. You create wealth by serving others with my gifts. And then that wealth has to clearly support the healing and growth of others.
So you're investing it back out.
Essentially, yes. Directing it towards projects or causes that uplift and inspire others, using it in service of love, truth, and peace. It's like an investment philosophy based entirely on contribution.
So the wealth needs to generate a social return, or you break the spiritual contract. That creates this kind of altruistic feedback loop. Money fuels purpose. Purpose attracts more money.
Precisely. And focusing on stewardship means the goals become holistic, not just financial figures. They talk about achieving financial freedom and time-rich status.
Time-rich. I like that.
Yeah, where wealth gives you the freedom to serve without constant money pressure. It's about building a lifestyle of wealth, peace, and purpose.
And it's not just for now. They mention creating wealth that lasts for generations. That implies some serious long-term thinking, wise investing, planning, extending that impact into the future.
Absolutely. So if you connect those three pieces, the energy view, the inner alignment, and the stewardship role, the whole philosophy directly challenges that old scarcity story.
Yeah.
It insists you can be, and maybe even should be, both spiritual and rich. Prosperity isn't just luck. It's anchored in presence, peace, and purpose.
Okay, so the core loop is get your inner world aligned, release the blocks that attracts the flow. Then receive money as a blessing and immediately channel it into service and impact.
Which increases your spiritual impact, expands your capacity.
And attracts more abundance to keep fueling the purpose. It's a cycle.
And it's ongoing. It's not a one-and-done thing. The sources stress you have to keep growing, learning, and elevating financially, constantly expanding your ability to receive, manage, and importantly, distribute.
So if you resist growth, you resist the flow itself.
That seems to be the idea.
So the question we want to leave you, the listener, with is really an invitation, a chance to start building this inner architecture right now. If your financial reality truly mirrors your alignment, what's one specific limitation, one belief about scarcity or maybe unworthiness or just plain fear? What one thing could you choose to release right now to start aligning with that infinite flow?
Because you're the architect. The next move is always yours.